Hi, it's Lindsay Vestal of the Functional Pelvis. I'd like to talk with you now about some simple props that I often use in workshops or public speaking engagements that helps me get into some of the more, abstract concepts that can sometimes accompany our conversations around the inner core and the pelvic floor. The first one that I use is a simple balloon. And I've got it labeled here with diaphragm at the top, abs in the center, and pelvic floor at the bottom. We've already had some really great conversations about this really important relationship between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, right? They're constantly working in concert with one another. As we inhale, the system moves down and opens and relaxes. And as we exhale, it comes back up to this place of readiness. So what happens when we get in our own way? What happens when we are squeezing our belly in throughout our day, either out of concern for vanity, or potentially we associate doing that with good posture? Maybe we're wearing a corset or one of those corset trainers, or a binder, a really tight binder, or potentially some really tight pants that don't allow the pressure system within our abdomen, that sort of beautiful accordion expansion and contraction that happens with the breath. Well, we get in our own way. And when these abs are tight, that pressure cannot adequately respond to one another, right? So that pump of the diaphragm that moves down on the inhale doesn't quite have that capacity to communicate with the pelvic floor below it. So pressure has to go somewhere, and rather than expanding out to the sides in that beautiful three-dimensional way, pressure can go up, which can often lead to things like reflux or GERD, and then because of gravity and potentially for postpartum women for sure, that pressure often goes down into the pelvic floor. So we can see things like pelvic floor dysfunction, like prolapse. We can see things like leaking because there's this buildup of pressure and the pelvic floor below it can't match that pressure above it. So instead of being able to expand and contract 15 to 20 times a minute, which is how many times we're breathing a minute, that pelvic floor's got this tremendous pressure. It doesn't get relieved because of that constant holding in that's happening. So the expansion and the contraction doesn't happen. It's just sort of this steady pressure. And then we see some issues because of that. So I find this to be a really nice way to kind of break down those concepts to make our clients understand a little bit more why letting their bellies go can be a really healthy thing for them to more deeply connect with their inner core and actually get that strength that they're craving. I often have just some fun things with me, so my cute little knitted uterus, why not? Always brings a smile to people's faces. If I'm at some sort of wellness fair or I've got a table set up, people come up when they see this, right? They smile, they want to pick it up, they want to play with the ovaries, so it's always a nice way to start the conversation. I have my wondrous vulva puppet here. That's actually the name, you guys. It's pretty amazing. It's a great introduction to just the very basic anatomy. So here we have our beautiful clitoral hood with our clitoris underneath. We have our labia minora and our labia majora. And then of course we have the introitus, the vaginal entrance right here. Also, people just get such a kick. It's really soft and just fun. And then last, I have two props here as ways to kind of explain the movement and the nature of the pelvic floor muscles. So two really simple concepts are that the pelvic floor is a lot like a fan and it's a lot like a funnel. So I've just stapled together here some playing cards as a way to sort of illustrate that beautiful circumferential design of a funnel that our pelvic floor often acts like, and then a fan. So I often talk about how from sits bone to sits bone, when we inhale, pelvic floor spreads out to the side, and when we exhale, it comes back together. So you've heard me talk about with the balloon sort of the up and down nature of the pressure system. But there's also this expansiveness that happens in that fan-like nature in the layers of the pelvic floor. So I think that seeing these simple visual tools also really can speak volumes to clients. I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear if you have any additional props or speaking tools that you use to help our clients further understand the wisdom of their own bodies.